One of my first exposures to grown-up adult rock and roll music was through this album, the first album by Santana, featuring Carlos Santana and many other talented group members. I believe my sister, one of my sisters, had purchased this. It was lying around the house, and I occasionally listened to it. The music was, and still is, very propulsive and rhythmic, and I became fascinated, almost overly fascinated, with the cover art, which is a lion, which features very small faces and things here, plus the open mouth of the lion are the arms of a woman here. There's the woman's legs. So overall, it was one of my first introductions to kind of surreal music. And so, great album. One time I was at a party over there near the airport, and it was a long party. It lasted a couple of days. And at one point, there were two competing factions that were arguing pro and against whether Carlos Santana was and is a greatest guitar player ever. I sided on the Santana side. I still believe he is the greatest guitar player, pop guitar player, rock and roll guitar player ever to grace the earth, especially his other album with John McLaughlin, Love, Devotion, Surrender, which was introduced to me by a distant cousin in New York. Hello, and thank you for joining us. This is our 800th episode of Heavenly Album Covers. So please take off your feet, relax, sit down, be prepared. We are going to cover an album that is very special to me. I first heard it when I was about 12 years old. My older sister was doing a cheerleading routine with her friends for high school. She was on the cheerleading squad, and she bought this album, or borrowed it, and they were rehearsing the song Suffragette City off this album for hours and hours, and that's where I first heard this album. And I think Suffragette City is on side 2. And this album is in a plastic sleeve. I only recently learned that plastic record sleeves actually enhance the music on the vinyl within. So that's some good knowledge to know. This is David Live by David Bowie. I'm going to take it out of the shrink wrap. It might ill affect the music on it for a few moments. And I kind of grew up with this album. I first heard it when my sister was playing it, doing her cheerleading routine with her high school friends. And I think she played this album so much that the actual grooves on the record were damaged. And I got this version, this particular copy, much later. And it's a little bit ring wear stricken here. I've always really liked this album. It's one of the most listened to albums that I have listened to in all of my life. I just like it. I even made some notes about this album so I didn't forget. David Live has a super hot mix. It's loud with great guitar solos. I think Luther Vandross is on it. I think they did the background vocals as overdubs later. And Bowie's vocals are really up front and loud. I especially like Width of a Circle, and there's another version of Width of a Circle that Bowie did with the Spiders from Mars. It's in the movie and it's on the album. Mick Ronson is just possessed, and that's worth checking out too. The song selection on this thing is really good. It's a good overview of Bowie's career at that point. They've released various special editions of this with extra songs, but these basic songs are just really special. This thing is just really loud and in your face. And I think that's why it's not given the credit for being a great album. It's just amazing. So let's get to the cover here. In different versions of this cover, Bowie is reversed sometimes. Sometimes there's like different things going on in different versions of this. This little red spotlight thing here has always intrigued me. I guess it's from the curtain in the back, but it's completely black in here, and then there's this little spot of red. Bowie almost looks like he's very sick, or like cadaver-like. Let me have a drink. And I was just very struck by this cover. It's so harsh, and it's beyond dramatic. It's just kind of weird, and his hair is just like his head is on fire, and even the gatefold photos are just he looks like a mannequin, or a I don't know, like some kind of monster, or a scary monster. Maybe that's where he got that album title. But there's a lot of great music and musicians on this album. David Sanborn, Earl Slick plays some really out there guitar solos. I think it's Mike Garson is all the way through this album playing piano. Also, the strange thing is the percussion section here is just outrageous on this album. And there seems to be some sort of ship's bell, like a bell you would hear on a cruise ship or something. And that bell sound kind of pops up here and there as a kind of in the interludes. So there's Bowie in there. He's clutching a dancer's pole, a stripper pole. And look at that. He's got like lipstick, and his hair is just dry. His makeup is just dripping from his face. And I think there might be more photos inside. There's that stripper pole photo, a little bit larger. And I think he does a written dedication to his fans here somewhere. Here it is. It was my ecstatic pleasure and great honor to be accompanied by some of the finest musicians I have ever worked with. Also, eternal thanks to my friends and fans at the Tower for your wonderfulness. Love, Anya. Bowie, 74. This was recorded at the Tower Auditorium in Philadelphia. There's some of the people that worked with him on this. And this one. So, soon after I heard and was exposed to this album, my sister and my parents kind of assumed that I really liked David Bowie, so they bought me a ticket to see David Bowie at the LA Forum. I went with my sister and one of her boyfriends. She eventually started taking me to all sorts of music shows, and this was my first big exposure to stadium rock, and Bowie was there. The complete stage setup was in black and white. There was no color anywhere, and the show opened with a screening of Louis Buñuel and Salvador Dali's Le Chien Andalou, the Andalusian Dog, the surreal movie. This was played before Bowie's concert that I went to, so it was quite a mind-blowing experience when I was like 12 or 13. After this was over, people actually watched this from the audience, and they were really into it. And pretty soon the stage went dark, and these incredibly hot white lights, just stage lights, white lights from every angle, lit Bowie up. It was really magical and wonderful. The lights were so hot that we could feel them up in the balcony. We were in the cheap seats, and these lights came on, and you could feel the heat from the lamps. It was really incredible. I think my sister bought me I think she bought it, or maybe I bought it, a copy of Isolar, which was the tour program for that tour. It was a little pulp newspaper, kind of a just a fan publication. It had photographs from the man who fell to Earth, and these are worth a little bit. I don't know where my copy went, but it was a nice little newspaper memento. So that's Bowie, and I think that's everything I have to say. We've made it through 800 episodes, so that's pretty great. The early episodes were really short, the early Heavenly album cover episodes, but they've progressively gotten longer and maybe not necessarily better, but I think that's it. This is a photograph of a truck in a heavy wooden frame. These are the other notes I took, but I didn't get to them today. David Live came out on the RCA Dynaflex vinyl things. I don't even know if this is vinyl or what it is. It could be like tortilla, black tortilla material, but it works. Really great album. Not many people like this album, but I like this album. But Bowie just looks out there, really intense and focused, and it's a nice suit. It's like a zoot suit that he's wearing. That's the front of a Roberts SS 770. The actual machine does not work, but so I salvaged the front of the device, the reel-to-reel tape recorder. It's got some great VU meters there. And if it fell on you, it would hurt.